Oh, yeah.
I just like doing that. No reason. Kind of being an a-hole here, but if that's okay, hopefully you guys have been to enough of these Parks Board meetings to know that this is the fun board, that we get to do stuff, correct stuff, make things better, and have fun. And we have that tonight. We have skateboard folks here, which I thank you. I got a chance to talk with you. You break every stereotype of a skateboard group. You do. I'm very impressed. Ms. Mazur, we're going to talk about some spraying stuff. We got our trails. Holy hell, we're going crazy right now on one of two trails. Before we get started, I went this into the minutes. I told Joe Murphy I wanted this into the minutes tonight. Joe and I coach cross country at Lawrence North. I've been doing it 43 years. He's been doing it 3 years. When Joe, a young kid, he initially went out to go get a Next Level Trail grant from the state 4 years ago, Eric? Initially? Seems like it. And he failed miserably. But I had Joe as a student. He ran for me at LN. And I'm 62 or soon to be 62, and Joe's already 62, but he's only reality 27. And he went back and took another swing, another bite at the apple for a second time. He learned. Thank you, ma'am. And that, I'm just going to be honest. Mayor Collier, Mayor Whitfield, everybody around, Joe Murphy's the one that made that trail possible. He learned the first time when we submitted, and the second time, second bite of the apple, we got that grant, and we're seeing if you haven't been by Lee Road Park, Forest Glen, Fall Creek Valley, they're going nuts right now. It's exciting, and a lot of you have heard me say this. Miss Helen, Tom, hell, all of us up here have lived in Lawrence our entire life. We never thought, hey, we'd have a cultural campus, a civic plaza, give a rat's about trails or skate park folks. Like I said, in 1970, I never thought any of that would happen. So I told my buddy Joe that I wanted into the record tonight. I told him, thank you, that trail's a reality. With that being said, what day is it? It's July 10th. Welcome. And just ahead, I have to leave at 6. I have to meet a contractor. My mother had a stroke. We're building ramps at my brother's house. So if it seems like I might be a little short, apologies up front here. All right. Real quick, thank you, Ms. D, for getting the minutes way back in May to us. It was hot back in May. It's nice. If you've had a chance to take a look at the May 8th minutes, I would entertain a motion to accept, change, direct our minutes. There's no changes or additions. I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve, accept.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Please give me a little levity here real quick. I'm going to bounce around on business so I can make sure I've prioritized this. Real quick, I want you to take a look. We're going to go right down to personnel. On Friday, the city of Lawrence will lose a valuable member of its community as far as an employee. That's Ronnie G, RJ. Ronnie graduated in 1979. I'm showing my bias here. Sorry, even though I have a Lawrence North on. RJ is 1979 graduate, Lawrence Central. He graduated with my brother, lots of good friends. I'm an 81 graduate of LC. Ronnie will retire after 40 years. Nearly 40 years working for the city. And I want to compliment this department. This knucklehead to my right, I've known for 40 years. I was a snot nose that asked for him to move some dirt for me in the summer of '84 when I was taking care of baseball fields. RJ was working at the street department, but this department has Ronnie G, Eric Martin, Ronnie Taylor, Bobby Connor, who am I missing?
Scott Johnson.
Scott Johnson. Every one of them have been with the city between 30 and 40 years and in this department. And this is not a political statement I'm going to make. It's a fact. this department is a bunch of khaki-wearing church mice. You heard me say that earlier. When it comes to budget and taking care of our youth leagues, we run over 1,000 kids through OIO, FC Pride, Fall Creek, Lawrence Youth Football that come through here, not to mention our Christmas, 4th of July, Easter, Halloween. We've taken on a civic plaza, a cultural campus, our Heartland Film area, a farmer's market, a Fridays at the Fort, all in the last 10 years or so. And all of these guys come from this department. We are, and this is not an attack politically on anybody, grossly underfunded. City of Lawrence residents send over $800,000 a year to the city of Indianapolis to support their parks. Almost 80, I would go ahead and say I would say over 90% of the kids that participate in our youth sports don't live in the city of Lawrence at all. They live in Indianapolis, which means they get to use our park facilities for free to play in their youth leagues. And this department, on a shoestring budget, has held it together, and I am going to brag on it. When something desperate is needed, they'll call the Parks Department. And the only sin Eric has ever had as a superintendent, he does not know how to say no. Plain and simple, he knows that. His wife knows that. His employees know that, but they take pride in what they do. And with RJ's retirement, and Eric's going to talk about a new realignment of pay for this department and who's going to step in for Ronnie and the like moving forward. It's a great group, and I've been around it. Like I said, I moved dirt starting in the summer of 1984. I know a lot of you weren't alive yet, but I had a lot more hair then. But RJ is a good friend of mine. Okay, we grew up together in Old Lawrence. I grew up at 48th and Harrison Drive in Old Lawrence. That's why I have an affection for Community Park and what needs to be done there. But RJ retiring, and he's very humble. Reach out to him. He wouldn't be here. He doesn't take, but on Friday from 1 to 3, Eric, have a bit of an open house at the back of Community Park at the compound. Nothing else. If you get a chance, hit somebody on the back, pat him on the back, because this is a great group of dudes that I've been blessed. And, you know, I sit here and think, RJ's LC, Ronnie Taylor's LC, I'm LC, Miss Crystal's LC, Mr. Burns taught at Craig, Miss Taylor, you've taught in the township, Miss Taylor, you're Lawrence Police, Miss Puckett, you serve on the school board. You talk about ownership in a community, you're not going to find it any more than from this board. And there's politics, and there's commitment to civic duty and the like. We get $56.90 a month for doing this gig, okay? Buys a good meal or good beer, one or the other, whatever your poison is. But RJ retiring, as I told Eric, though, it's hard to believe as you grow up and you have friends that are suddenly, holy hell, they're 65 years old. And you blink, and that's what happened. So I want to, on the record, say thank you to Ronnie G. And I know he's a grandpa. He'll be worthless. Hopefully he learns how to be worthless. Okay, that takes a skill. And with that being said, I'm going to hand off to Eric. I'm sorry, hon. Pardon?
Hours for the open house?
1 to 3.
1 to 3 on Friday at the maintenance compound, for lack of a word, at the back of Community Park.
Okay, thank you.
And with that being said, Eric, I want you to address our personnel from salary schedule and all that happy stuff.
And this board's never acted on the ability, but this board has the opportunity to increase salaries within the budget confines that the council provides to this board. So I'm asking, because of RJ's leaving, we're going to have Bob Connor take over the maintenance director position. Bob has, again, been with the city, I think, 35 years. But I'm asking for each employee. There's only 5 employees in the maintenance division, so I'm asking for a $2 increase for each employee for the remainder of this year.
That's per hour.
It's per hour, roughly $10,000 to the end of the year. And it still doesn't bring them up to, we're trying to get levity with the other departments, utilities and street, and we'll be close to that with a $2 increase per hour.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Do you know what that, either a medium or average per hour that is for our department? I'm putting you on the spot.
I mean, I could tell you what they each make, but I would rather not do that if I didn't have to. No, I mean, we're still below the other departments.
Mean streets,
Streets.
water,
Utilities.
and utilities. And you know, the other pushback I guess I would throw, because I don't like losing employees to the private sector, but to other municipalities. Do you know what, give your homework assignment for next month, maybe find out what other municipalities, and don't use like a Greenfield, not a Fishers or Carr, maybe a Greenfield comparison.
Well, I know that Fortville was hiring parks laborers earlier this year, and I almost lost 2 to Fortville because they were offering $24 an hour to start out at.
Okay.
And I've got
Go Helen.
one employee who's been here for 30 plus years is not making $24 yet.
And once more, I fall back to this, not a political statement, but Unigov has hamstrung us as far as our revenue, as far as our monies that stay in the city of Lawrence. To me, it served its purpose, but we service so many parks. New addition, when Unigov was enacted, Lawrence had a population of 10,000. Indianapolis had not come out here. When Unigov was enacted in 1971, Indianapolis's boundaries ended at Shaylin Avenue and the like. We are hamstrung by our abilities of our tax dollars as an outflow to the city of Indianapolis. And this is not, yes, I'm complaining a little bit, but it does hamstring us. It just does. We subsidize youth activities, adult activity. If you were here for our 4th of July, the activity, forget the parade a minute because it rained. No offense to the parade, but it was poopy. But the fireworks and the activities that we supplied, and roughly, you throw in the summer help, you had 8 people cleaning up after 15,000 people come in and watch a fireworks show.
And yeah, streets and utilities did help, and I want to commend utilities and street, but first time, and Jamie, I'm going to introduce her here in a minute, but suggested that they go behind the parade, and they've never done that. And I had several compliments from the community about picking up trash after the parade, just as a, and so again, thanks to the utilities and those gentlemen that helped and the streets that helped.
That's once more, you know, that's where Lawrence unique. We've had a 4th of July parade forever and a day, and it's all hands on deck. So, Eric, what you're looking to do is, I'll go ahead and make the motion, promote Bobby Connor to the position of maintenance director.
Correct.
And an appropriate salary increase for the remaining full-time employees within the maintenance department, correct? That's my motion.
Moved.
There a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Thank you. And again, if you see RJ, that's something he's constantly is fighting for and was fighting for, was the parity in pay for his employees, and he'll sincerely appreciate that.
You can't beat. You know, when I started working for the city, I'm 20 years old, don't know my butt from third base, and you know, a lot of what I became growing up, you know, hanging out with, you know, local folks. And, you know, to Eric Martin's credit, this is a guy that has served every administration that this city has ever had. That's from Morris Settles to Deborah Whitfield. And it's, like I said, it's not a political thing. There's sometimes you just got to get things done. That's all that is. So thank you. Next up on the agenda, can I have the lovely and talented Miss Liz Mazur come forward? We are working on some spraying protocol issues. Miss Liz, I'm going to frame these questions I have. A, concisely, what are your concerns? And B, how would you address those concerns? Go.
My concerns are that at the dog park at Jen Park, there has been a chemical 2-4-D, which is in T-zone SE broadleaf herbicide that's been sprayed around the borders of the dog park. And the purpose is
You're talking about the fencing area, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Just getting better feel.
And the purpose of that is so that there will not be anything growing on the fence line. And I have concerns about that because this chemical has been, there is information out there from the Natural Resources Defense Council, which has said that this herbicide, in an article, the most dangerous pesticide you've never heard of. This toxic herbicide comes with known health risks, but it's still being used on crops in parks and maybe even in your own backyard. Other information presented in the piece is that it can also poison small mammals, including dogs, who can ingest it after eating grass treated with 2-4-D. And then there's another article, the Atlantic Magazine, titled Agent Orange in Your Backyard, the Harmful Pesticide 2-4-D. And in it, it states that one of the 2 active ingredients in Agent Orange is used in this herbicide. And newer science shows that it's not just a cancer problem, but that this pesticide interferes with several essential hormones, thereby increasing the risks of birth defects and neurologic damage in children. And also, it says, because 2,4-D is broken down by direct sunlight, once the residue gets into a house after being tracked indoors on shoes or pet paws, the pesticide lingers for months or even years. Kids who play on the floor are at particular risk since they accidentally ingest the chemical when they put their hands in their mouths. And another concern is that this is an airborne chemical, and it can travel significant distances, damaging plants downwind and contaminating homes. And the Gen Park Dog Park, right near it, there is a large native pollinator-friendly planting, and also Kensington Farms is across from there, which has families with children and native pollinator plants, and that chemical conceivably is being blown and contaminating this. And there are concerns. You've been talking about the history and the traditions here in the city of Lawrence, and we have accomplished so much. And one thing that we are is forward-thinking, and we recognize that sometimes we have to change our practices. And at this time, I'm very concerned that this chemical is being sprayed. There are the dog park on Fall Creek, the Department of Natural Resources dog park. They do not use any chemicals along their fence. And the only time they do use chemicals is when they are cutting down honeysuckle, invasive honeysuckle, and they cut it down and they put dabs of glyphosate to kill the honeysuckle.
Right there.
And when they do that, they close the park, and there are no dogs or people in the vicinity. And unfortunately, there have been incidences when this T-zone SE broadleaf has been used at the dog park that dogs and people have been around and that there's not been notification. And I am concerned about it being used, and also there are alternatives. There are ways that that fence line can be made more attractive by either with weed whacking, and also there's an area, a large part of it is right against overgrowth stuff. There's really no reason to be weed whacking that part of the fence. And the other area that's along 63rd, native plants can be planted there and grow along the fence and provide attractive presentation. Or if people really want the nothing growing next to the fence, you can use weed whacking. But this is a park for dogs. The dogs, the incidence of cancer in dogs in the past 30 years has gone up tremendously, and there's strong evidence that the correlation is exposure to lawn care chemicals because they're so close to the ground. and it's, especially in a dog park, to be using chemicals that are problematic is concerning. So I am advocating that we, for sure, not use T-zone SE broadleaf herbicide, consider alternatives, and you have questions?
Okay, real quick, Eric. Because I don't know this. First off, a little background. We got in trouble second summer I worked with the city spraying, and we wiped out, I don't know what, $500 worth of tomato plants on spraying because it blew over at Community Park, because it blew over, what were we using, a Roundup type of?
No, that was a broadleaf.
Yeah,
spray.
so on a different level, my 21-year-old self destroyed a neighbor. Boy, and Tom Schneider was not happy a little bit. But with that being said, what are alternative herbicide? I'm going to go with that first. Because I know it is a bit of a labor intensive, but it's not a giant park to simply do manual removal of the weeds. But are there an alternative to 2,4-D that we can spray?
There are the mixture that Liz was referring to has 2,4-D, dicamba, and what we call Trimac.
Right.
So it's a broad spectrum. The 2,4-D primarily addresses the dandelions, but the dicamba and MCPP is the other chemical that's in it. Does primarily clovers, and as you can see out in front here, we need to spray again. But so my suggestion is we either limit the application if the members of the dog park understand that, or we spray, when we do spray, we give notification, and then they can either wait to go in, or, because the residuals on these, on 2,4-D or glyphosate or any of the other are generally just hours.
A drying period.
Yes.
I suggest to you, Lizzie, that this could be something, now I'm wearing my libertarian hat here, I have to be honest with you. I don't necessarily want something written in stone where the government regulates, but I also understand a whole lot of law firms are making a whole lot of money right now with suing over Roundup lawsuits and the like. That just doesn't spring out of thin air and the like. I would like to see me, you, and Miss Liz sit down and formulate a policy, because I'm a firm believer if we're going to spray, I don't care if it's 2,4-D or water, to eliminate invasive, weeds, that we can close a park for 12 hours, 24 hours.
But even
Go ahead,
so,
hon.
if you are closing the park, that if it's sprayed, it is still spreading to.
And there's residual. I get
So
that.
I really
Yep.
do question, and we're a sustainable community.
Right.
And sustainability means that we want this to be economically viable.
Yeah.
And we want it to be a healthy community for the present and for the future. And I really do question why, for example, you mentioned the clover, okay?
I'm not
Clover,
anti-clover.
you're going to get a lecture here, sorry.
I'm not anti-clover. I don't kill my
The
clover, yeah.
the thing is, in the 1950s, broadleaf chemicals were invented.
Right.
The chemical companies wanted to make money, so they started publicizing that to have clover in your lawn was a sign that you were not a good person. And that influenced everyone, and so it came to be that you killed the clover, and that meant you had to buy the broadleaf chemicals. Previously to that, when you bought seed, grass seed, clover was put in it because clover naturally provides nitrogen, which is beneficial. So being a progressive place, and especially when it comes to the parks where if there's some clover I'm not sure if we need to be concerned about the aesthetics of that. You know,
I have a
do,
question.
Go ahead,
okay.
Ms.
I have a
Crystal.
question. She had mentioned about the pollinator plants. If she were to, if we were to have those, would that be budget friendly to maybe not have to spray? And then for the plants, the pollinator plants, what exactly, can you expound more on that? Let me also say, thank you for just being a champion on just Lawrence
Beyond
nature
soccer fields
friendliness.
and baseball
Like, yes.
fields type of thing. That's kind of, yeah, we have not gone there, you know, I agree wholeheartedly. We're beyond stick and ball activity, which is very important.
So I'm talking about along the fence, there's, if we planted seeds in November, December of this year along the fence, that there would be native plants that would be growing along the fence that are attractive and pollinator friendly. And so that stretch of fence would not need to be weed whacked. And then that leaves the back section, which, as I said earlier, is against the overgrowth where the housing.
Okay, thank you.
is.
That's at
Okay, and
west
then
side.
There are
yes.
two other
And east
sections
side.
that would need to be weed whacked.
Right.
Okay.
So it's not incredibly arduous. I mean, I used a weed whacker. It's not my favorite thing to do, but you can weed whack that in under a half hour for sure. So,
Eric, now, I'm speaking now, I'm wearing my coach's 43 years of coaching hat. I know athletic fields, but even before we went to turf for baseball, softball, football, the township sprays, they do. Is there a way, this is I'm speaking for myself here, a policy I'd like to see adopted, and we can work on it. I don't know if it has to be etched in stone. Public gathering, non-stick and ball, like Lee Road Park, can we Gin Park, can we modify our approach to controlling weeds? I understand the athletic facilities. That's a totally different beast.
That is different.
But still, even when you spray the athletic facilities, be it soccer, baseball, whatever, there still needs to be a posting that spraying has occurred. This sounds like a bill, passing the buck thing, but I'd like to, Eric, me, you, and Liz sit down because we get closer to that October, November, fallish time of the year. I'd like to have in place, are we going to plant pollinators there? If not, what's our alternative to using Canberra or 2,4-D or any of the other high-end? Can we?
The spraying of the fence lines is glyphosate. It's
Okay.
Roundup.
Right. Can we come up with a mutual agreed how we're going to approach? Like I said, that the dog park is used by humans and obviously humans and dogs regularly. Can we come up with an alternative? Because it's a neighborhood. The athletic field, soccer, baseball, totally different beasts. Can we, and are there other parks that we need to identify where we might need to modify our spraying? And right now, other than Lee Road, maybe Lee Road, because we just have CCA out there, but definitely the dog park, it gets more and more use every year. I'd like to, let's get together and come up with a policy we can come back with next month and go, this is where we're going forward, be it planting pollinators or using I'll call Agent Orange products, which, you know, I get a little upset when I spray. I spray along my privacy fence, I know, but I don't spray my clover, daggone it, because we got a ton of bees and the like. But I understand the whole, forget the blow off of it, but the runoff when it rains and the like too. God knows it rained last night. Those are the things that bother me. So Liz, Eric, you set up and we can get together. I'm going to come up with a more firm policy where we can all sit down, may not agree 100%, but maybe we can agree up to 80% on both sides of the aisle. Because as I said to you earlier, I'd like to have some, you know, when I emailed you back, we should come up with some protocols here. Now, real quick, do all of our guys, and I don't know this, do they have to be certified in handling chemicals?
The products we use are they're not restricted.
Okay.
So
Well, in the directions for use for the T-zone SE broadleaf, it says only protected handlers may be in the area during application. So, I mean,
That's one of the things where I'm at with the spraying and the like. Even if we continue to spray, but we got away from the Agent Orange stuff, I still like to see our parks closed down for spraying the dog park for a period of time, if it's a drying period or whatever, that we don't need, with communications that this city has now on social media and the like, I'd really like to see us close our parks down for a period of time till that chemical, if they dried and we feel as if
the
it's not.
soccer fields.
Yes, yeah, for any of them. If we spray in the spring, soccer guys, we're going to spray in this date. You can't be in the field in this date. God knows there's enough time to kick soccer balls and hit baseballs. But we need to come up with kind of a timeline to let all of our leagues know this is what we're doing and when we're doing it.
yes, I understand that. I think we can do that with signage because some days we can't spray.
Right,
because of
definitely wouldn't have sprayed
conditions or
today.
rain.
Yeah, wind.
And we have to get out there when we can.
Right.
And most of it is done during the early morning when there's no one on the field. So, but signage, I can certainly agree to that.
So, Liz, if you make this gathering happen, because it's so important, we've made such big strides with stuff. You know, as I said, I try to say it once a year, Lawrence was the first community in Marion County to have recycling way back in the late 80s, which for Lawrence, that was progressivism at the time. And we've made big strides. So let's get a handle on this, folks. That way everybody feels comfortable, they feel safe. And I'm going to be honest, with the advent of the trail passing down 63rd in front of the dog park, it's more of an urgency now. So if you'll make this
I have
happen.
talked to the trail people, and
Right.
they're very interested in having native plants
Yep.
along the trail.
We already kind of have that just before you get into the entrance there on 62 Watson Farms, you have the plants growing there.
Yeah, those are the gentleman that lives in that white
So-
house.
For,
Walker, yeah.
So,
but start a trend towards having more of these natives and reducing the turf grass, and it will save us money because
In the
we
long
can
run.
have those parks guys doing other stuff instead of spending so much
Right.
time mowing grass. So there you go.
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
I'm going to hand off to my vice presidents. I got to go sit in the adult chair for a little bit with my mom. Don't get old, people. I'm giving you one bit of wisdom tonight. Don't get old. And with that being said, I'll let you guys fly the airplane. Great conversation. I'm going to let our
You're the vice president, you're going to have to handle it.
skateboard folks take over here. I've chatted with them. Just a few notes I've gleaned from chatting with them. They're very prepared. They're working with the police department. This is no fly-by-night organization. We have, since we've had that skate park, since Mayor Ricketts had it built, looking for ways to make it attractive and the like. They're impressive. So I'm going to have to abandon you, but you have my support from the chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. My name is Casper Jones. I make skateboards for a living, and I recently became a skate park respect advocate. That's an international nonprofit that's goal is to clean skate parks, make them presentable, and do small repairs to make sure that you guys don't have to deal with it. Michelle is also a skate park respect ambassador. So we just like to work with the park. We've been cleaning the park quite a bit. Everybody uses Lawrence. I see families there. I see kids there all the time, in the morning, late at night. You guys put beautiful lights out there. It's awesome. But obviously, and I'm sure you've seen the very vulgar and negative messages all over the park. And graffiti removal is timely. Graffiti removal takes a lot of time. It's really, really expensive to keep doing it over and over again. I'm sure you're aware that it's pretty futile to even try. And I'm sure that's kind of contributed to the fall off of maintenance of the park, because I understand not wanting to go in there every day and power wash something that happened the night before.
Correct.
So I obviously alternative solution is something that I think would be a win-win for everybody. Alternative solution, like what happened at Major Taylor's in Indianapolis. They sectioned off the park in different areas and brought in local artists, big graffiti artists, and the like, to just paint off the park. If there's ever a small tag or something that gets thrown up, black matte paint, make a phone call, and it's beautiful the next day. I'd like to bring in big name artists to do that because people will respect that, and it'll kind of eliminate the small tags that go over it. That kind of graffiti polices itself pretty easily, and then bring in local artists. Spoke with you about the, I guess there's a art program with Lawrence that.
I think you all are familiar at the Lee Road Park, the art kids have started a pollinator-friendly mural on the side of one of the sheds. And it's happening. They're making great progress. The coneflower is almost completed. Thank you.
So involving other people working with the community and bringing their artists in, and then bringing artists in like Eli Shaw. Eli Shaw was a local inductee into the Hoosier Hall of Heroes, and he uses art and skateboarding as an expression of healing. So to bring artists in that are important to the community like that. Another artist that I believe I sent you an email with some references to his art. But Robert Bentley, he's a great muralist, does great art at Majors, and is really well connected to the graffiti community, so he can bring in artists to make this happen. Oh, hey, look at that. He's right there. Perfect. Yeah, he's going to be a great resource to you guys to be able to bring in artists at much less of a cost to you guys than going and paying somebody to do everything. I believe Indianapolis helped with the paint, but we can all just sit down and discuss how we can go about this in the future. I believe that this solution would create pride in the park for everyone involved, and it will also, with us doing small repairs, it looks really good to the community. I posted a video of me just cleaning up glass at the park, and somebody threw a bottle over the fence. It's unfortunate, but we're happy to show up every morning and clean up, make sure that place looks beautiful. But that video of cleaning up glass and having a positive message was seen by over 300,000 accounts. That's 300,000 positive eyes on Lawrence. So if we keep that trend going, I think it's just going to create a really good look and a great relationship between the park board and the community. So I guess what I'd like to do is be able to just keep an open line of communication, make sure that we're approved to do some small repairs, like moving the dirt. I don't know if you've noticed that we kind of pushed some stuff back. We tried, and it got destroyed within 24 hours, but we built it again. Paul Nanny is planning on doing quite a bit. Paul Nanny was talking to you about getting some dirt in so we can try to get some grass going there. And I know that's really going to be really tough. But he's only 5 minutes.
Yeah, I live over in Benjamin Square, so it's really easy for me to pop over there. I mean, I do a lot of walking over there too, so I typically see when something's going on at the park, and I was happy to go over there and do some landscaping or some minor concrete repairs.
And I mean, with this trend of the park getting better, because the community taking care of it, and this great relationship with the Parks Board Department, I think down the road we can look at expansions for the park, things like that, that'll bring in events to Lawrence and make it a destination spot instead of a skip the skate park spot, which is where it's at right now.
Yeah.
But really looking forward to work with you guys on the project and hope this becomes like a very positive collaboration and just brings the community together.
So my assumption is we'll probably meet with Casper and his group in a informal round table or something, find out what we can do. I think it'd be a good opportunity to call in our Arch for Lawrence group. They have certainly ties to the artist portion of what we need, and to get some additional community buy-in. So I've got your phone number, and we'll set a meeting up sometime and see what's convenient to everybody. It might be a Zoom call or something, and get something rolling. I know that financially, probably be cheaper for us to buy, as a department, buy paint to help your program out than to buy the product we have to use to spray on it and the time and materials to do that. So, but yes, I can appreciate, and again, I appreciate everybody coming out and keeping an eye on things, because a lot of times we hear just the bad stuff, and we know that there's a lot of good activity going on over there.
And we've I believe Officer Cantrell,
Tracy Cantrell, yes.
he reached back out to me from the Lawrence Police Department
Okay.
because there was an issue on July 4th and we really appreciate you coming in on your day off to.
Oh, to unlock it? Yeah, no,
That was very awesome.
Well,
Really helpful for all of us, and showed that you're here to care about it.
yeah,
So, working with him to just kind of pull back whatever is happening there that's causing
right.
parks to get.
And again, I think with involvement of people, with your group, and those kids are there not to skate or going to go somewhere else, so.
Yeah, and we've got some of those kids on board for this.
Good.
So we are trying to involve the community entirely in this whole thing. That's why like bringing in local artists that are involved in it is just going to get the whole park respected by everybody. Win-wins all around, and just a beautiful park.
And how long did it take the velodrome?
One day, right? Is that one?
Really? Okay. And I've never visited over there. What size is it compared to the Lawrence Park? Is it really? Okay.
And I can I've got a big list of pictures comparing the like unpainted concrete to painted concrete. New parks, not a good idea for paint. It's really slick with the new concrete, but
Yeah.
the rough concrete actually fills in some spots, and it's a little slick, but it's less rough. So I may have sent it to the wrong email, so I'll just collect cards from you guys
Okay.
before I leave. But I've got some great pictures of majors and pictures from outside of it. When you're driving down 65, it's that beautiful piece of color on your left side if you're going west.
Yeah, I never come back that way. I was cut down 38th Street.
Oh, it does. Yes.
Oh. So,
So Jamie, would you give them or if we just get everybody, for you guys, your group, if you just sign, give us something, your emails and stuff, we'll make sure we reach out to you.
awesome. For sure. I will get information from everybody real quick here.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I really appreciate everybody taking the time to listen to us. Robert is going to be a great resource for you because he was heavily involved in majors.
Okay.
I'll send some more emails to you
Okay.
with the examples, and I sent you his Instagram account, which is pretty much his portfolio. Really beautiful stuff.
I'm not on Instagram. But
It's all right. I think the link works from anywhere. Does anybody else have anything?
I'm not sure I'm on the YouTubes either.
Is that it?
How about the interweb?
All right. So I'll go ahead and gather this information from everybody, and then I'd still like to grab some cards from you guys.
Sure, I've got some in my office.
All right. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Yes, thank
Hey,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was by the skate park the other day and somebody was sweeping up, so.
That was probably one of us.
That sounds,
We're Shell.
Yeah,
We're all really
great.
close to the park.
yeah, anything we can do to get volunteers. Right?
That's what that skate park respect
That's great.
nonprofit is really.
Yeah, and I like the idea of painting rather than trying to take off all the things you don't want on there.
Yeah, and
There's stuff on
again,
there now I saw that probably shouldn't be on there.
Correct.
Have to have that painted over. So
That
we're
would be pretty.
on the right track.
Yeah, thank you.
Next is the special use agreement for Cathedral Girls Soccer for the pickleball courts.
so as a team building exercise, they did this last year. I believe it's on the 23rd. They have a 2-hour period where they want to reserve all 8 courts, and they play pickleball for 2 hours. They have a tournament with girls on the soccer team as a team building process for their team. So it's our standard facility use agreement. It's $128 for the 2-hour rental. And last year they paid it without any issues. And I'm not sure that we did a facility use agreement last year or not, but I'm asking for authorization to proceed with a facility use agreement for girls soccer.
When is that?
The 23rd is a Wednesday.
July 23rd,
July 23rd? Are we
10:30
putting
to 12:30.
information out there to let people know?
We'll list it on city Facebook, and we'll also post it on the bulletin board out there.
What time of day?
10:30 to 12:30.
Okay, yeah, that's,
So most of the people in the morning have already left, and
yeah, that's a good time.
they did it last year and didn't have any issues, but we'll post it also.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion to approve the special use agreement.
So moved.
So moved, second.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And motion passes. Okay, next is United Consulting Crosswalk Design at 63rd and Lee Road.
Okay, so we have Gretchen Meyer back in from United. We're trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. This is on the Lee Road Trail. We think we have additional funds to put a crosswalk back in at 63rd and Lee Road on the south side of the in front of Forest Glen High or middle or elementary school. So it will go over to the new greenways trails on Fall Creek by the duck pond. So because our budget's going to be so tight on that portion of the trail, we're going to try to do it out of the proceeds that we have from the Lee Road Trail. We think we have ample funds for both the design and the actual construction of it. So we can do a change order to Calumet to do the actual construction, and then and a supplement to the agreement we have with United to do the actual design work.
Where would that be in relation to the entrance to the elementary school?
It'll be the north of so it'll be right behind it, right just south of the light, crossing. So it'll be across Lee Road at 63rd, but south of the intersection. At the intersection crosswalk primarily. I didn't bring any pictures with me, but so if you imagine the pathway that goes back to the duck pond now at 63rd Street that no one can use yet,
Okay,
it will be just directly south of that. And then we'll pick that up and then down Lee Road.
well, why wouldn't we put it at the light?
It is, it's light.
We're talking about it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm confused then.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It'll go between the Gretchen, you might help me on this. The actual stop indicators where you stop for the stoplight.
Okay,
Yeah, so crosswalks always need to be in front of or ahead of the stop bar, so, which is the white strip
Okay.
on the ground.
Correct.
And so usually it's about 4 feet in front of that, and it'll be 14-foot wide crosswalk, so ample room for bicycles, strollers, and pedestrians to use safely. And it will be signalized as well. The pedestrians will have push buttons to activate the pedestrian signal, and the signal would also be altered to accommodate the phasing of those pedestrians so that we don't have cars turning and flipping pedestrians.
okay.
The contract for the design work is $15,000. The construction is $42,000. And then we have the caveat of actually doing the imprint as the other city crosswalks are at 59th Street and Lee Road. I've got a price coming for that. That'd probably be an additional $10,000 to $12,000 for that imprint. So probably $75,000 for the crosswalk. And we hope to have the funds already in the budget for that. The actual construction came in under bid, about $200,000 under bid.
Okay.
So we're and I've got to get authorization from DNR. So regardless of what the board approves tonight, we still have city legal to look at the contract and then DNR to sign off on the additional work.
So do you need a motion from us?
Please.
To do that?
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion to make that change.
So moved.
Second?
Second, okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Mr. Martin, we didn't give you a chance to speak this evening.
Really, I don't have much. I'm going to ask Jamie Wyrich, who is the new communication director in charge of special events and all around everything, actually. Poor thing, she's done July 4th and Eclipse and everything. But she's going to kind of give you a rundown of where we're at and what we've got coming up yet this year.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, everybody. I'm just going to talk about a few events that we have coming up. There's a couple of new things that the city is actually taking over or just initiating this year. So, of course, we have the farmers market that's ongoing every Thursday, 4 to 7 until October the 3rd. So please come out, hang out with us for a little bit. At the end of July 28th, we're going to do a back-to-school cookout at Alexander Park. So our goal is to bring attention to all the different parks. A lot of people don't know about Alexander Park. So we want to make sure that we're bringing attention to those neighborhoods, to that park in particular. It's beautiful, has a new playground. We just want to make sure people know it's back there. So we're trying to fill 400 backpacks with school supplies, and then feed the community from 12 to 3. So we're looking for hamburgers, hot dogs, something very simple, bag of chips, some water. That will be July 28th, 12 to 3. I have created an Amazon wish list. I've asked Eric, I'll send it to Eric and ask him to send it out to all of you so that you all can share it, contribute if you like. It is actually going to be posted on our social medias as well. So the community, if they so desire, can also contribute. And then local businesses, we're going to reach out to for sponsorships for that too.
Will you have people, or did I miss it because I was writing notes, volunteers to help stuff the backpacks?
So we will ask for volunteers, yes,
Okay.
the Friday before. So we're actually going to set up in the hallway, just making an assembly line. We have, we researched the supply list for elementary, middle, and high school for Lawrence and surrounding schools, so some of the charter schools. And I know we take school, I know in Lawrence you can pretty much go anywhere now anyway, so. But we've looked at the supply list and have decided to do, it's 150 elementary school bags, 125 high school, middle school bags. So 125 for middle, 125 for high school. And then, so they'll all have different supplies, because a senior doesn't need crayons like a first grader would. So we're stuffing bags for all different levels.
I don't know, crayons are still kind of fun.
I mean, I still color with crayons, but it's just not on the list. I don't know. Talk to the schools. Get together.
Stereotyping.
Something else we'll be doing, we will be hosting Barbecue and Blues as the city of Lawrence instead of the Friends for Fairhaven State Park. The location has not been decided yet, but we are thinking it will be at the cultural campus, back behind the theater at the fort. It will be still 12 to 5, still September the 14th. Arts for Lawrence had something else planned, and we're waiting on them to decide if that is still going to move forward or not. If not, we'll have it at the cultural campus. If so, we may move it to Civic Plaza. And we're trying not to have it at the community park, just because we kind of want to contain it to a smaller area. So that will be September the 4th, still the same time, so 12 to 5:30, still barbecue, because it's barbecue and blue. So we'll have barbecue food trucks, barbecue tents. Then we're gonna look for maybe like a drink. So I think Fourth Fest, we had a drink cart that did cocoa. It's called Cocoa Bongos. They had like drinks and pineapples that were non-alcoholic. But if we do it at cultural campus, we may also serve beer and wine, as they have done in the past at the Fort Harrison State Park. Be 12 to 5:30, and then we'll have about 4 bands out there. That's it. Any questions?
Very good, very good, excellent.
Yeah, we're still working on our DORA, so if you remember that we were working on that, it's the designated outdoor refreshment area. So the mayor staff's working on that, and we will probably include Civic Plaza and Cultural Campus in that DORA.
It seems to be very popular.
It is, yes, all the communities are doing it.
To make sure I heard right,
Working on that. I'm sorry.
September the 4th, correct?
14th.
The 14th, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
We are working on that. However, we have it at the cultural campus, Arts for Lawrence and Heartland. We are able to get them involved in the program. They both have a license that they could serve. Arts for Lawrence, I believe, can serve wine. I'm not sure they can serve beer. Heartland, I think, can do both. So, that's where we're at.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Eric?
No, budget time, our budget's due Friday. And then our controller, and we'll meet with the controllers in the mayor's office to discuss that. And, but we're hoping that, to move things along.
Any early thoughts on that?
I know that we've got a couple asks that we have to include. One is our portion of the Green Waste, Fall Creek Green Waste Trail is $250,000. So that's either got to be budgeted in our general fund, or ARP's already allocated. So I don't think it'll come out. It can't come out of ARP now. So we'll have to include that. We're looking at a new playground and shelter at our 45th and Richard. That community, we think, would benefit from maybe a small shelter, and the playground, of course, is 20-some years old, and it's not in that bad a shape. It's just
20 years
been
old.
loved, yeah. And other than that, we do have, and you've already approved it, but we've had pickup trucks that were approved through the bond issue, and we're still trying to find pickup trucks for 2024 pickups, which, how tough it is to find vehicles nowadays. So, but we think we've found some in Fort Wayne. The police department just purchased their Tahoes from Kelly's in Fort Wayne, so they're looking for us. So we might still yet this year have 2 pickup trucks coming for the maintenance division.
Be darned. Interesting.
And then continuing on at Lee Road Park with the demo and some other things, some cleanups there. So, and then Michael DeSanto wanted me to thank the Parks Board for their spring league is over, and they had a very successful spring league. And then he's going to come talk to you about maybe utilizing the field house at Lee Road Park for their infield training. He's going to look at that. They've lost their indoor training area. And so they're looking to find something else, and that might set the bill for what they need, so.
Do you know what kind of shape that field house is in?
It's in pretty rough shape, and Michael's never been in it, and it might scare him away, but they're spending roughly $3,000 each on their travel for rent of another facility, so they have the funds to put into, to that facility if need be, so. We're going to take a look next week, and then
Just so I understand.
we'll come back to the board for.
Very good. Not to bring up a sore subject, but how about the parking lot at Community Park?
Well,
It is.
we're still in discussion whether there's going to be funds available through this general bond issue that they did for the equipment purchase. We're seeing how that, because there's some revenues left in that bond, so hopefully we can, there'll be enough to do that. If not, we're looking at something else as far as revenue production, so. If we don't get it through this bond, we'll be back to the Parks Board for additional funding.
Was there more room to do bonding?
Yes.
But we,
Specifically for parks, so.
that would be,
So
we're gonna need to do something.
we're in discussion with the administration right now, and the Economic Development Director is looking at, again, where our bonding level is.
Okay, that was my question.
And where we can, and specifically just for parks. So, again, it's too early to say anything right now, but
Just an observation, not a criticism necessarily, but if you look at this parking lot here, it's got like 2 or 3 little blemishes on it.
yeah.
The Community Park,
Oh,
you
no comparison.
think about how many people judge Lawrence by going into Community Park compared
Right.
to coming into here.
Correct.
I mean, many times more people go into the parks than come to this parking lot. So, we got to do something, because some of the other parking lots are.
Oh, yeah, Veterans Park
Pretty soon.
needs it. Alexander Park's never had asphalt on it.
Yep. How do we get away with that? I mean, that's probably not good.
No, it's not. So,
Football park has a big.
Has a hole in it.
It's messed up.
yeah, and that needs to be,
I mean, you don't have to do the whole parking lot.
no, but it needs to be cut out and that area patched with new material, and much more than just a hot patch. It needs to,
Oh, yeah.
need to excavate that area and fix it.
And it just keeps coming out. I mean, of course, the park at Lee Road is, it's got
Yeah,
kinds of waves in it. Sooner or later, that's going to break up.
yeah. So I know that that's not exciting, but a major portion of bonding would probably go to just parking lots. We could spend $5 million
I
just
mean,
in
it's got to
parking
do
lots.
something. Community park's got to have something.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Anything else?
No?
Anything else? Do you have anything? I got a couple more things.
Okay.
The parking lot at the Sturt Center, behind across from the theater. It's been sectioned off. The back part is.
Oh, you mean the
separated with-
Just building?
Yeah.
Mr. Farr's building?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
actually's, again, Jamie and her persuasion he's allowing the city to use that for their farmer's market, and the theater can use it also for
Oh,
full
okay.
parking. We painted it
Yeah, okay.
green to allocate lines for us, and he's been very, very cooperative. And
Good. You must be very persuasive. You were wrestling with that one for a long time.
yeah,
That's good.
Can I add about the farmer's market too? Like, that's a good spot to go, like on Thursday night with your family for dinner. It wasn't just like fruits and veggies, like, it's like, you can go and have dinner, you can have ice cream, you can get fruits and veggies and so much more. So it literally is like a little family fun time. So just wanted to add that is so
Yeah.
much more than just a farmer's market. It's, yeah, a little bit of everything.
There's picnic tables there. You can have a little
Yeah, it
picnic.
feels
There's
nice.
generally entertainment
Yeah, it feels nice.
Very nice.
every Thursday evening, so,
Yep.
yeah.
A lot of people
I
are.
can only eat so much corn, but
Just got one other thing. The dog park, the holes in the dog park.
Those have
we
been-
get those taken care
those
of.
have been filled, yes.
Okay. Like dogs don't dig new holes.
No, but those have been filled. I'm not sure they're not reopened
That's an
today.
ongoing, constant
Yes.
problem, I'm sure.
Dogs or
So,
something, or-
no, it was dogs.
Oh, gotcha.
Taking all
Dogs
this.
being dogs, okay.
Any other business? There being no other business, meeting adjourned.
Awesome.